Hey friends, welcome to All About Guitar Academy. You know, many of you out there watching are 40 years and older like me, or 50 years and older like me, and I'll stop right there. But the reason I want to talk about guitar after 40 is because there's so many of you out there just like me that either got started after age 40, or you're coming back to guitar after age 40, or you're having struggles staying on pace with playing guitar after age 40. And if you know what I mean, stick around because we're going to talk about that coming right up. Hey, welcome back to All About Guitar Academy. You know, it was just 10 years ago, that I was still in my 40s. So if you're 40 or over, this video is for you and for me. The reason I felt like it was important to discuss this is because I know I'm not the only one out there that either just started playing guitar after they turned 40 or came back to playing guitar from playing it years ago, and now you're over 40 years old and you want to get back into it again. A lot of us out there like that. Or maybe you're over 40 and you're struggling with some other obstacles that are keeping you on your guitar journey. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about 4 things that we should be looking at when we're talking about playing guitar after age 40. Let's start with number 4. And I would say number 4 is our health. You know, we've got to look at what our current health condition is. I know for a fact, because this has happened to me, I was injured back in 2021, injured both my hands, really messed up my ability to play guitar anymore. I gave up. Some of you already know that story. I'm not going to tell it all today. But the good news is I was able to overcome that, and I started playing guitar again, but it was really, really hard to come back to it. Some of us have, physical impairments like arthritis, things that we never thought we would have. And after age 40, all of a sudden now we're having trouble with our fingers. We might be having, brain fog, from accidents. There's so many things as we get older, that can kind of slow us down or inhibit us from wanting to continue on our guitar journey. So what are some things that we can do to try to analyze our health and make adjustments so that we can play guitar? Well, here's a couple that I would like to propose. Let's talk about injuries. I'm very familiar with that. So what helped me when I became injured was I went back to the basics of playing guitar. Chords like C major, like G major, D major, all of those chords that I used to be able to play really easily, even like an A major with one finger, became darn near impossible for me. I was unable to hold the strings down like I could before. So that was really scary. What I did was I went back to chords like C major and I just shortened them up. I took some of the notes out to try to help me to learn how to play the chords again and then work my way back up. So for example, instead of a C major, I do a C major 7th with just 2 fingers. Sounds very similar to a C major, and I was able to get by with that and jump back into playing guitar. Instead of E major, I might focus on E minor. Instead of A major, A sus2, just 2 fingers. And same thing with chords like a D major, I was doing a D5, which is just 2 fingers. So that was some things that helped me to get back into playing guitar again. Simplifying those open basic chords that I used to play all the time became a difficult thing. Now you might be struggling with arthritis or with some other types of pain. We've got carpal tunnel syndrome. so many different things that we run into out there as we get older. And even you might even be under 40 and going through some of this. So don't feel like you're alone on that. What I recommend is make sure that you put a plan together for yourself, taking into account what your health conditions are right now, and ease back into it. Don't try too hard. You don't want to injure yourself even more. And you might even just need to take some time off. I did that for like 6 months after my injury. I started playing keyboards instead of guitar, but I really wanted to play guitar. So that's what drove me to get back into it. So health is really important. It's not something that we can just get around, even if we're taking good care of ourselves, exercising and keeping ourselves mentally active. It happens to the best of us. So I would say number 4 is your health. All right, number 3, I'm going to say it's time. I mean, once you're 40, even before you turn 40, think about how your schedule changes from your 20s into your 30s. You might be working 60, 70 hours a week, feeling like you have no time for anything. You're having kids, you might be having grandkids. The responsibilities of life just kind of overwhelm you. I know I've been there. And it still continues to happen as we get older. Hopefully not quite as much, but it does. So time is a very, very important thing to consider. You're going to need time to practice. You're going to need time to study the songs that you want to play, or even just listen to the songs. You don't have to study them. If you've got a good ear, you might just start listening to more music more often so that you can take those ideas, put them onto the guitar, learn how to play those songs, learn how to play chords, take lessons. All of those things take time. It's not easy to play guitar. It takes time. So I would say number 3 is time. You've got to take that into account, take that into consideration. Do you have 10 minutes a day you can spend on playing guitar? Even if there's only 5 minutes, try to do a little bit every day. Keep your guitar, handy, close by, on a music stand, so that you can just grab it and pick it up. I'm guilty of leaving guitars all over the house, okay? That's my problem. I like to have lots of guitars. I always have. But I've got to keep them out and about so that I can reach for one and grab one whenever I want to. Now, don't get me wrong. I've got some guitars that I like to keep in the cases because, I paid some good money for them. But they always end up coming out of the case anyway. Might as well keep them out. Hang them on the walls, whatever you got to do. But time is a consideration that's very important when you want to come back to guitar or learn how to play or continue on your guitar journey. Got to make some time. All right, let's talk about number 2. That's equipment. You got to have some equipment, right? You got to have a guitar. Maybe you need an amp. Maybe you want some pedals. Maybe you'd like to have a drum machine. Things so you can be very creative and play as much as you want to, as loud as you want to. So you got to have equipment, right? So I would say that's number 2 thing to consider is what kind of equipment are you going to need? Do you want an electric guitar? Do you want to start with an acoustic guitar, a classical guitar? Are you learning how to play bass right now? So that's what you're focusing on, bass guitar. Do you want an amplifier? You want a Marshall? Do you want a crate? Do you want a Black Star? What kind of amplifier do you want? All those things need to be taken into consideration. And if you have the money, you have the time, and you have the willpower, why not get something that you really, really want? Hey, if you're over 40, get the one you want. I highly recommend, if you've always wanted a Les Paul and you've never got one, get yourself a Les Paul. If you've always wanted a Fender Strat, get a Fender Strat. Get that guitar that you've always wanted to have and let that drive you to play it every single day. What I've found is that I've got certain guitars that I just love to play. And if I have guitars that I love to play, I'm going to play them. All right, if you have an old clunky guitar that's hard to keep in tune and it's dusty, and that's all you can afford for right now, hey, that's all right. But set a goal to get that guitar that you've always wanted to have and get as close to it as you can. That's just my advice on that, on equipment. Now, as far as amplifiers go, it depends on what kind of music you want to play. If you want to play hard, heavy rock, you're going to probably want a Marshall or a Marshall stack, something like that. I've got my DSL-40 over here with my Randall cabinet, and that works great for rock and roll. If you want to play some jazz or some easy listening or pop, something like my Marshall Class 5 head over here works great. If you just need a practice amp, I've got this Black Star 10-watt practice amp that has all kinds of effects on it. I'm going to put links to all these in the description just in case you want to check them out. And they work, all of these amps work great for what I need them for. So it's really important to take into consideration, what is your budget? What kind of amplifier do you want? What kind of sound do you want to have? What kind of guitar really would get you excited and fired up if you owned it and had that to play every day? And if you've already got that guitar, dust it off and put some new strings on it. Maybe get it set up so the strings are a little bit lower to the fretboard so it's easier to play. Take it to your music shop. Let your luthier help you out with that. Go ahead and get that bad boy out of the closet. All right, so equipment is very important. We got to have that. And it doesn't matter. You might just have an acoustic guitar. Nothing wrong with having an acoustic guitar and focusing on that. Focus on one thing at a time. Pedals. Some pedals that I recommend if you're just coming back into guitar or if you're just getting started, make sure you have a way to tune your guitar, to keep it in tune, whether it's on a pedal or whether it's on a digital tuner that you just put up on the top of the headstock here, whether you do it with keyboards or however you do it, you got to have a tuner of some kind. Also, pedals that are a lot of fun that help with if you have an electric guitar. A wah-wah pedal does wonders for your lead solos. A delay pedal is awesome. You can play around with that thing all day. I remember when I first got my very first delay pedal, I was up all night long making all kinds of crazy noises with it. And I was hooked after that. So you might need an overdrive pedal to add some more crunch. If you're doing acoustic with an acoustic amp, you might want to have some chorus, a chorus pedal or a reverb pedal. The possibilities are endless, all right? So make sure you've got some money set aside for some equipment, whether it's just an acoustic guitar or if you're going to go all out and get electric with cabinets, amps, pedals, all that. Do it. All right, let's talk about the number one thing that's important to take into consideration if you're playing guitar after 40. I'm going to say creativity. Are you a creative person? Do you like to create things? Are you an artist? Do you get excited about writing songs, about seeing something that you see in your mind actually come out on paper or in song, out of the speakers of your amp? If you are, then creativity, you've already got that. And I would say that's the number one thing to take into consideration if you're coming back to guitar or you want to learn to play the guitar after 40, or if you're just trying to get back on track. There's nothing like writing a good song from your heart and soul. It's good for you. It really is. There's been studies that have been done that artists, people that paint and people that create things that they've dreamed up in their heart, their soul, and their mind, and they actually make it happen, they're some of the happiest people in the world. And just think about all the inventions over, the years and thousands of years of time that we've been creating and inventing things. Without that creativity, we wouldn't even be making a video today, right? We wouldn't have cell phones. We wouldn't have, I could go on and on and on. I think you get the picture. But number one, if you're a creative person, you're going to find getting out of bed in the morning to play your musical instrument is going to really drive you when you write that first song or when you start learning songs that you've never learned before that you really want to learn. Creativity, that's what keeps the motor running, in my opinion. Okay, let's say you're not a creative person, or at least you don't think you are. You've never wrote a riff or a lick or a song on guitar. Well, I've got good news for you. You've still got time, whether you're under 40 or over 40, 50, 60, whatever your age is, it doesn't matter. You've got time to learn. I am working on a songwriting course right now because I think we need more songwriters out there. I believe that guitar players want to write their own songs, their own music, their own riffs, their own licks. So I've been working on a course for a while, so stay tuned for that. You'll see it at allaboutguitaracademy.com real soon. But back to the video. Let's say you just haven't felt very creative. Well, I want to encourage you to use these 4 things that we've talked about. Analyze your health, take a look at your calendar, and schedule some time for practice and creativity. Make sure that you've got some equipment that you're going to enjoy playing. Guitars, amps, everything that goes with it, whatever it's going to take to get you excited to pick that axe up and start belting out some riffs on it. And number 1, make sure that you've got that creative spark. Now, it might take a little while. You might have to start putting on some albums, listening to some music, that will get you inspired. Be more creative. Get those creative juices flowing. Watch other artists on YouTube. And I get fired up. Some of these folks on YouTube these days are just amazing, and some aren't, but that's okay. They're working on it, right? Listen to music, get those creative juices flowing, and make sure that if you haven't subscribed to this channel, subscribe to All About Guitar Academy. All right, so I hope to see you in the next video. I hope to see your comments down below. Help us all out here. Let's keep playing guitar after 40. I'll see you in the next video.